Hi, this is Alcan. Welcome back to my channel. Interesting stuff that came on YouTube by Louis Rossmann, the right to repair guy. Seems that we have some things in common when it comes to the MTA and a few things we don't. But basically, yes, this is an agency that's out of control. They don't know how to spend money correctly. And we both agree, F the MTA. And I say with that grin on my face. Well, what's happening here is Louis Rossmann, excuse me. I had to give him a shout out for this. He's talking about the new district attorney for Manhattan, New York City. And in the papers, he's been telling people, I'm not going to prosecute people for a certain amount of crimes like trespassing, resisting arrest, prostitution, and the one that irritates me the most, farebeating. And I forget what the other one is. Oh, and of course, drug stuff like, smoking marijuana. Well, okay. Basically, we don't agree about the farebeating. Of course, he's saying, the MTA's been ripping us off, so fuck the MTA. Yeah. I agree, because unfortunately, MTA has done that to me. So, for all these years from 1988 to 2011, illegal cat list kept taking income away from me, plus the stupid opto trains. For those who don't know, that means trains are operating without conductors, motorists doing both functions, and the TA is paying them more than a $2 or something for every trip they do, opening and closing doors and operating the train. They save a ton of money, but guess what? That auto shit, despite what they claimed that it was going to save a lot of money and so on, never materialized to the point that it went system-wide. It's still staying in a few lines, and that's it. And they're violating auto rules right now as they speak. But between the cap, the illegal cap, and the opto, they cost me a lot of money, so I had to work part-time jobs at the retirement. So it didn't help me at all. But why is Louis Rossmann telling MTA, fuck you? Well, because unfortunately, on the Long Island Railroad side is where they had the scandals. First, it was the making believe they were severely injured, that they were getting more benefits than were supposed to. And then, of course, the latest is the overtime scam. As we're speaking, someone's about to be serving time for that. It's just amazing that the Long Island Railroad is allowing this thing to happen over and over again. No accountability for this. And the worst part was the NTA tried to cover this up, and an organization tried to get the information. They wouldn't give it to them, so they ended up having to go to court to get the information. Majority of the people doing the overtime to Long Island Railroad, making the big bucks. There was only 2 people from New York City Transit that was on the list. They're not involved in any scandals, so they're okay. But the scandal's happening on Long Island Railroad. But it's affecting everything, because unfortunately, people think if they're stealing over there, they're stealing over here. And yes, Louis did make a point that these agencies bring in millions and millions of dollars, but nothing for sure. Nothing to show. I mean, of course, there's reasons for that. They have fund. You have employees you have to pay for, pensions and medical, and of course you got to pay the bondholders. They take a lot of money because they got to borrow from the markets because the city of New York doesn't pay what it's supposed to for the agency, and made things worse. They under Bloomberg, they smacked the agency with 7 private bus lines that they forced to take over. They should not have done. Employees are not getting the raises they used to get in the past. But then you have fuel costs. Remember, you got to pay for electricity. The trains run on electricity majority of the time on the subway. The buses, they have special fuel, and normally they wouldn't have a problem, but once in a while something happens, it spikes up, it drives off the cost. There's another reason why they want to put everything electrical. Same thing with Metro North Long Island Railroad. They had to pay for electricity. They had to pay for fuel for the diesel trains, as well as buses. Other expenses. Remember, you got to get uniforms. You got to pay for drug testing. You got to pay for other things like materials. You need rails. You need wheels. You need parts. You need to maintain the equipment, and so on and so on. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that goes on. You have offices. You're renting. Some you own, some you don't. A whole lot of stuff. And of course, the problem is putting all this stuff together, and well, you have one hell of a hot mess. So of course, you're gonna see the agency what it is. They had done some doozy bullshit you not believe. I mean, the worst one, of course, now it's not just the scandal in the overtime that they didn't bother to control and try to cover it up. If New York City Transit and Long Island Railroad and TA say anything and they want to take action, we got the receipts, dude, so don't bother. Okay? Don't bother. Because you're going to lose. We got the receipts. And that think tank, the Empire Group, they're going to wipe you with the floor if you try to come up with that garbage that I'm making this stuff up. We're not. Also, you had over 130 employees that you wouldn't allow to wear the mask at the beginning of the epidemic because you thought the CDC was correct, all because you wouldn't let them wear one of these, a mask. So what happens? Yes, over 130 employees die, and now they're paying $550,000 death benefits for those employees. Now, they say, well, in case you don't get vaccinated and you die, you're not getting that benefit. Yeah, but I hate to say it, but some of the folks that are vaccinated, they're still getting the virus. Then they wonder why I didn't want to come back. Why? It's a headache to be working for this agency. I don't need the bullshit politics. I don't need the nonsense. I don't need the hassle. I don't need the heartache and the heartbreak and all the other garbage going around. I mean, let's say that I had to start working on the A line at 207th Street and I finished in Far Rockaway. I mean, New Jersey. There's no way I could get back home on time before New Jersey Transit shuts down. I'm not going to be spending money on a Lyft and Uber unnecessary. So, it makes no sense. Not for a few months. I know they're short people, but that shortage is your fault. I mean, you had a program that you're supposed to get rid of 2,700 management jobs, but you ended up getting rid of most of your operational and maintenance personnel. What was the point of this cutting program? You did it to yourself. As somebody once told me, you did this to yourself. I don't feel like going around as a motorman in this day and age now and telling people, oh, you got to put your mask on. I don't want to hear crap from them, because you got people that cooperate, but you got a majority of people who won't. And trying to call police, big waste of time. So, you have a Farebeating problem. You got a homeless problem. You got people being pushed in front of the trains. I don't need all this headache. So, no, I would never come back to this agency. They could forget it. So, and if you're having people saying F you to the agency, it's obvious that you have a public relation nightmare going on and you don't know what to do about it. You're not winning, you're losing. So, to my former agency, I don't know what to tell you, but, I don't see any relief in the future for you that people are going to be coming down there wanting to work for you with all this bullshit going on. And I'm telling people, don't bother going down there. If you want to work along a railroad or Metro North or Path or something, but don't come to transit. No, they'll screw you over. No. So, we got the receipts, so you can't say shit. So, and of course, the famous incident that Andrew Cuomo, when he was still the governor, forced out Andrew Bradford. That was the final straw that broke the camel's back. I would never come back unless he came back. We all know that's not going to be happening. So, Louis Rossmann, I salute you for telling my former employer to go fuck himself. So this is Alcan saying so long for now, and don't forget to stop. And don't be like my agency. And you don't want to be on Louis Rossmann's bad side. Don't do what the MTA does. Night.